Hi again. Continuing with the books on physical conditioning, combative conditioning, we come to a book by a guy who is a legend. He's a real character, and that's Pat McNamara. And Pat served in the Delta Force for many, many years, and he specialized in marksmanship and firearms training. And when he left, he became a commercial firearms instructor on the road, presenting courses to military groups, law enforcement groups, and also to civilians all over the United States. And while he was on the road, he used to train in local gyms. And he got fed up with the kind of ego type training, generally bodybuilding type training he encountered. So what he started doing was on the range facilities, he would adapt bits and pieces of equipment, breeze blocks, ropes, tires, this kind of thing that might be lying around, and he would use them to make exercise programs. And he put some of these on YouTube as videos, and they're really interesting. Particular as ways to pre-tie before you do a shooting drill. And it showed that he really was a master of the physical conditioning. He's very, very fit and very agile. And some of the guys that he was training asked if they could be included in this. They thought it was a great idea, and he started a group who used to do this kind of training. Anyway, his book, Combat Strength Training, is he has put all his ideas into one place. Quote from the book: "When it comes to weight training, working body parts is virtually an anachronism. Isolated training of the muscle groups can actually be weakening the muscle group because it needs to be used in a functional fashion. If you are still working body parts, you are probably one of three people. One, you are a bodybuilder. Two, you are recovering from injury or going through physical therapy. Or three, you have no idea what you are doing. Through mentoring and education, I got away from the nonsense of pretty muscle building and started the performance-based training regime around 15 years ago." So the book takes you through the whole concept of the program that he's doing, and it's very much what we term task orientated for particular outcomes. So again, quoting from the book, "Here are a few things we often neglect. Proprioception. Proprioception means one's own individual perception is the sense of the relative positioning of neighboring parts of the body and the strength of effort being employed in movement. Transverse plane of motion movements. The combat chassis needs to be worked in all planes of motion and in the full muscle action spectrum. In other words, we need to work in the frontal, lateral, sagittal, and transverse planes of motion." One of the things, when I mentioned, I think in the first one of these reviews, we were developing the combative conditioning program in Joburg, where I really put a lot of this stuff together. One of the things that we worked on was the effects of ATP depletion and the importance of experiencing this in training. And we came across, developed drills that would induce this. And the way you do it is by heavy bag or pad, kick pad training, but working on the intensity. So every strike is designed to put the man down. Every strike's a fight finishing strike. Every strike you're fighting for your life. You're putting everything into each strike, and build up the environmentals. Have people yelling at you, have people flashing knives in front of you, and so on, to get that emotional impact. to really drain the body. So he experiences it in training, and also it extends it then. The ATP reservoir builds up so it's not depleted as quickly. Very important aspect of training. And it's one that the type of training that Pat Mac is talking about is really designed to enhance and encourage. He says, I believe we should work a minimum of 4 days a week. We should work in circuit and in anaerobic chunks at near metabolic threshold to achieve an aerobic goal, i.e. working in short explosive durations to where we're almost about to pass out or throw up. So that really is a great explanation of the overall effect, that instead of anaerobic and aerobic being separate, if you work your anaerobic drills in a circuit, you get an overall aerobic effect as well. So that's a really great point. And then as a final point from Pat's book, in my opinion, there are 4 reasons for working out and staying fit: self-preservation, longevity, saving your life, saving someone else's life, and kicking someone's ass. And in the book, he describes all this, that, you know, you may have to pick up a child and run with the child. You may have to throw something through a window to make an escape route. You may have to fight, put an attacker down, and also training for health and longevity. So he makes a very coherent case for all of this. The book is really, really good. It's cutting edge. Pat Mac's a real role model for this kind of training. He delivers it. If you go onto YouTube and look at the videos associated with it, tremendous amounts of enthusiasm. He communicates it well. He makes you want to go and train. So the book is available as a download. I'll put the link to it where you can get it. Well worth reading. Everybody I've put it onto has responded very, very positively. Really great.